Hi everyone, welcome back to the Playwright Automation Framework series. In the previous video, we extracted our login logic over here, right? And the product selection into this product selection into reusable functions. Our test became much more cleaner, right? But there was still repeated code that we can improve even further. That's exactly what we will do in this video. We will continue refactoring our framework by moving common actions into dedicated helper functions. This not only makes the test easier to read, but also makes future maintenance much simpler, right? So let's take a look at our current test. If you see our current test, even after moving the login and add to cart logic into functions, we still have repeated code, right? So for example, every time we want to go back to the home page, right? We are locating the navigation bar and clicking on it, right? So here, like this is the code navigation bar, right? Not only in this function, right? We are repeating these lines. We are even repeating these lines in the if you see over here in the logic. Once the user gets login, even in the helper function, we are repeating this logic. So instead of repeating those same lines through our test, we can create another reusable function which is called navigate to home. And inside this function, we locate the navigation bar, click on it, and wait until the product card becomes visible to ensure the page has fully loaded. So now whenever we need to return to home page, we will simply call that function, right? So let's quickly do that. So here I will create another function on top of this. If you see async function, we can simply name it navigate to home. It's really easy, nothing much. So same page we will pass over here, right? And then here, like we have just these two lines of code, right? We declare that constant, right? Here, right? And every time we navigate to home, right? Here we just locate the locator, right? We did it over here, right? So what we did is, if you remember, here on the home page, right? Every time we navigate to home, right? We inspect it, right? We locate the locator and we click on the locator. That's it, right? So same locator we have over here, we are just locating it and clicking on it. And once like user navigates back on the home page, we are making sure the page is fully loaded. And how do we make that sure? Just one simple easy thing that we have been doing from the starting, right? So how do we make sure that we are navigated or we have located the correct pages? What we do is we add an assertion, right? So let me add that assertion, await expect, right? So page dot locator, same thing we will do. Nothing different we are doing. We are just, you know, we are just picking up the repeated code, right? The code which is repeating, right? And we will place that here in common functions and reuse that. So we have this card title. So every time I click on the home page, then I need to wait for this card title, right? But there will be multiple card titles. So I will just wait for the first one. Once that is visible, right, then I will start my next work. It means the home page is fully loaded. So we are not just navigating to the home page, we are making sure once we navigate, the page is fully loaded, right, so that we don't fall into any errors due to waiting, right? So now wherever I am navigating to home page, I just simply need to call this method. That's it, right? So simply here I will write that statement, await, right, the method, right, and then just simply pass the page fixture. That's it. Now my work is done. And here where I am repeating these lines of code, right, same thing I need to do over here. Await, right, navigate to home and pass on that page fixture. That's it. My work is done. Now I am able to, move those, reduce those lines of code, or reduce that repeatable code wherever I am repeating this. So once I navigate to home page, there is another method, right? Every time I add something to the cart, right? Or once I add the elements to the cart, I need to navigate to the cart, right? I need to click over here, right? So if you see let's create another method, right? To navigate to the cart, async function, right? Then the name of the function. We will just write navigate to cart. We will need this even going further when we will create more methods, right? Same thing we will need to do over here as we repeated over, if you see over up here. So we have this label cart count, right? I will simply pick up this count, right? Let me simply pick up this. right? I am placing this over here, right? Once I am here, what I need to do is I need to click on this. Wait, card count dot click, right? Once the user has clicked, it doesn't mean that the simply the page will load, right? So if you see over here, it still needs some time for this one to load, right? So what I can do is I can add an assertion on this one, right? If you see these elements, those are present under the list. So I'm inspecting those. If you see all these elements, they have this step indicator class, right? So I will simply add another assertion over here. So let me add just no, align the code. Okay. Once I am here, right, I simply need to add assertion, right? I will wait for the elements to load and then I will perform some actions, right? So simply here I am adding that step indicator dot step indicator class, right? Dot first, right? There can be multiple, there are four steps, right? So I just want to wait for the first one, else it will throw an error that it found multiple elements with the same locator, right? So in order to avoid that, I am simply, see, I am simply clicking, locating the element, clicking on the element and waiting for the page to load. That's it, right? Now wherever I have that code, right? Navigate to home. Sorry, what do we say? Yeah, navigate to cart. I will simply call this method navigate to cart. That's it, right? So that part is done, right? Once I add the elements, I will navigate to the cart. And if you see over here, we have one more thing repeating, that is this thing, right? Every time I add, once I sign in, I am checking no element is there. Then again, I add product to the card. I need to verify. Okay, the element is has increased by one, and here as well I need to verify. So this code I am repeating again and again. So why not create a separate method for this one as well, so that we are fully, reusing the code, and there isn't anything that is repeating, right? So I can simply say verify product account. Let's create that method over here, right? So that I am fully reusing my code, and you will see once it is done, the code will be much cleaner and better, as we see now. So again, let me copy paste this. Let me cut this, because we will simply use that method over here, right? Right. Once that is there, so every time once I add the elements, okay. Okay, now there is one difference. When for the first time I am seeing, there shouldn't be any count over here, right? So what I can do is, with the page, I need to pass on one more element, right? That is the product count. So I will pass on the product count from here, right? So when for I will just verify the product count, right? Here the product count should be 2, here it should be 1, right? So and here it should be 0. So I will pass 0 over here, right? So along with page, I am passing the product count, and once it has the page and product count, so I will add a condition, right? If product count is equal to 0, right? What I should do then, right? Then simply I will copy paste those two lines that I have on the top, right? If product count is 0, right, we don't, that that the cart count will not be visible, right? I just cut paste these two lines that we were using earlier here, right? If I can show you, right, these two lines were here, right? So I just added a condition, right? So it should not be visible. So okay, now it looks more clean. And what if product, here I will pass the product count to be 1, right? So here for the second time, else product count needs to be visible and it should match, right? Else just these two lines of code I will paste over here, right? And here simply I am passing the product count, right? And product count, here I will be simply matching. I will not increase it over here, right? And here whenever I am passing, I will simply call that method product count. Sorry, verify product count. Verify product count. Okay. For the first time, we know that product count has to be 0, right? Once I sign in, product count has to be 0. Once I pass product count from here, if you see, I am here for the first time, product count is 0, right? what it will do is it will call this method verify product count, right? And this product count is passed here as a 0. If product count is 0, we know that it will not be visible or it will be hidden, right? Just one of the assertion is more than sufficient, or you can use two if you want, right? But for the second time, right, here product count gets increased by 1, right? Once I add, right, I navigate to home page. Once I add that, okay, remove it from here. Once we add the bolt cutters, right, product gets increased by 1, right? So here I will just pass on plus plus product count, right? Here for the first time I will increase 1, right? And for the second time, once I add that second sorry, yeah, let me paste this over here as well, right? Once I add hammer, right, and then I navigate to home, delete this one. Okay, okay. Once I add hammer, product count gets increased by 1, right? Then I am plus plus sending the product count. Here when once I add bolt cutters, it increased by 1. And now I not do not need this repeated code over here, right? So for the first time, it is going to be 0, then 1, then 2, right? And here what I am doing is if product count is 0, it means it will not be visible. Else I am simply, verifying the product count, right? I am matching it, fetching from the screen and matching it. So I am not doing anything extra. Whatever repeated code I had, I just, moved that to separate functions or methods. That's what do we call it, right? So, oh, sorry. So here, right? So first time there will not be any product count. Once I log in, let me show you, sign in and I can show you, right? For the first time, the product count has to be 0. We already worked on this one, right? So I am just showing that so that you remember it and don't get confused with it. I simply want you to understand this one. That's it, right? So here, right, for the first time, there won't be anything. Let me click on home. I think there is some lag in the website. For the first time when I add something, add to cart, right? It added and the product count is 1. What if I delete this one, right? Their product deleted, right? There isn't anything. Even the cart is not visible. That's what we are validating here, right? If you see, for the first time, the product count passed is 0. And for the 0 1, what I am validating is that the cart is not visible. It is hidden. But every time after that, once like the product, every time I add some product, right, it increases by 1. First I add hammer, it increases by 1. Then I add bolt cutters and it increases by 1, right? So here it will just pick up the count from here and it will, match here. That's it. That's what I am doing. So now, but now if you see, if you compare both the methods, now the test reads almost like plain English over here. If you see, what we are doing, we are signing in, we are verifying the product count, we are adding the product to cart, again we are verifying the count, navigating to home, then add product to cart, right? And again we are verifying the product count. This is simple plain English. This is exactly the goal of writing maintainable automation code, right? As your framework grows to 100 or even thousands of test cases, organizing your common actions into reusable helper functions will save you a huge amount of time, right? It will reduce duplication, makes debugging easier, and keeps your framework consistent, right? That's what we are doing over here. So simply, just once you are done, right? Once you are done with everything, simply rerun your test case, right? It should work. Every time I hope it works. So if you see over here, the same thing, it will sign on navigating to home page. We just, picked up the repeatable code, separated that into simpler methods. Okay, it is saying it failed. Okay, page dot locator here label card. Uh, Let me check that what happened. Okay, verify product count, right? So where okay, so with wherever we are verifying the product count, with page we need to pass on the product count. Here we are not sending the page. So it is unable to recognize this page, what we say fixture over here. So right. So we need to pass that page fixture from here and it will recognize it now. So let me rerun. So if you even if you get error, don't worry. Just look at what is the failure and try to fix it. Right here, it was saying that it is unable to find that page fixture. So that was the error. So it is trying to add the first thing, then it is trying to add the second element. See the test case passed, right? So and how our test case is looking very clean, right? Just we are adding it in a simple plain English language, and everything that was repeating, we moved this to different functions. So in the further lectures, what we will do is whatever reusable functions we have, right? We will move it to separate class, right? So that here we just write the test cases, right? I navigate here, I do this, I do that on the page. That is the main thing in the framework, right? That is the main core of every frame. I think you understood it. And going further, now we will continue with the usual flow, right? We then move to the card. We will delete the elements, right? Verify the element is deleted after deleting, right? Verify that delete what we say alert we get on the top, right? Then proceed to checkout, right? We will continue with our usual flow. But now we know the main concept of the framework, right? The code reusability, how we reuse the code in the original framework. I think that's all for this one. Thank you.